My topic for today is little vast, hypothyroidism and pregnancy. Initially, I thought it was a very simple topic. We used to give thyroxine sometimes we are not giving thyroxine. Some sort of funny phenomenon was happening in my practice. Okay. But when I reviewed the topic, I thought it was a very serious issue. It's not a silly issue. So my plan is to review the physiological alteration during pregnancy and thyroid economy. I'll discuss few cases also and one or two sentences regarding the current guidelines which are available in the literature. That's my plan of action for today. See, once the lady become pregnant, okay, you are developing placenta. This placenta will produce HCG. You can see the HCG level here. HCG goes up like this, which has got a structural homology with the TSH. So that will stimulate the thyroid gland to produce more amount of thyroxine. And because of the increasing secretion of thyroxine, your TSH is coming down. You can see the TSH here. And by and large, this TSH will be remain normal, and you may get a little elevation of T4 and thyroxine. Sometimes most of that situation that will be maintained in within the normative data. That is what is happening. Now a question comes, very common question. You want to go for a pre-hormone or total hormone? It's a very pertinent question. If the laboratory is good, in Trivandrum Medical College, we are having our own laboratory and our senior scientific officer is highly competent person and we are observing here, we are supervising the procedure. So if we have the setup like that, pre-hormones are good. There is no issue. Why pre-hormones in certain situations like pregnancy? Because these syncytial trophoblast will produce, see, this will stimulate the production of TBG. What is this TBG for postgraduate students? You are assessing thyroxine with TBG. So whenever there is increase in the level of TBG, apparently you will get elevation of total hormones. So basically you are dealing with a normal patient, but report will give a diagnosis of thyrotoxicosis. Mind you, this is only physiological phenomenon. So if the lab is very good, you can go for free hormones. If you are not confident with your laboratory, total thyroxine is more than sufficient. You can have clinical assessment and you can adjust the value during the pregnancy in various trimesters. So what I want to tell you that in pregnancy, there are a lot of physiological alterations which are likely to happen. So if you are getting the report, thyroid report, check the age of the patient, check this as the gravida or pregnancy status of the patient. That's only carrier message I wanted to convey for this patient. Now, what I want to tell you is very simple: minimal reduction of T4 and little changes in the level of the TSH for upper limit also. And if you are interpreting the report, you should have your own data, your place, what is the data, what's the status of iodine, all those things you should know. But if nothing is available, American Thyroid Association feels that upper limit you can fix something like 4 micro international units. That is a compromise. That's a recommendation by American Thyroid Association. So you have lot of at least 1 or 2 dozens of studies available. They were looking into the level of TSH. So don't read the entire slides because see a lot of informations are there. What I want to tell you that most of the situation, most of the studies, the TSH level is around upper limit is up to 4 micro international units. So you can use that normative data. That's a message. So you have a lot of other data also in various literature. Here you can see what is the level of TSH. TSH level is somewhere around 2.9 or 2.8, something like that. And in addition to that, they are providing the normative data for free hormones also. Please remember, I'm repeating the same sentence. Please look into the patient's data, gravida status, then only you can assess the thyroid status of the patient. Now, this data from one of our friend, Dr. Marwa et al. He also gives, this is the data for him. he also thinks that no, this is the normative data and probably 4 is an acceptable figure. That's the data. Now we'll look into the data published by my own friends in Indian Thyroid Society. What they feel that is a trimester specific. First trimester 2.5, second trimester 3, and last trimester you have 3, something like that. And Europeans also feel that there's a very amicable settlement. You can fix up the values like that. And American Thyroid Association, which we already discussed, if you don't have your own data, your own geographical or regional data, you can fix the TSH level up to 4 micro-international units per ml. Now, coming to the epidemiology statistical data from hypothyroidism, you have a lot of data. Dr. Unni was discussing a lot of data, and more or less same data is described. But there are data which shows incidence of subclinical hypothyroidism 6.47 up to 10 is also documented. And of course, gross hypothyroidism, or you can call it as overt hypothyroidism, is occurring in around 0.5% of all pregnancy. Now, this is one data. This is from India. They have included patients from 11 cities. It's a multi-centric study. The conclusions were around 13 point, or you can call it as 14% of the patient, pregnant women having thyroid dysfunction, and they're using a cutoff level, little funny, that's 4.5 micro-international units. And antibodies also documented in pretty good number, that's around 1/5 of the population, that's pregnant population. Now, you have two data. You have one data from overt hypothyroidism for postgraduate, which is defined as normal levels of thyroxine, T3 and T4 are free hormones and minimal elevation of TSH. Subclinical hypothyroidism, subclinical is minimal elevation of TSH, and the levels of thyroxine T4 and FT3 is normal, whereas gross hypothyroidism or overt hypothyroidism, you will get a little reduction of thyroxine also, both FT3 and FT4. In this moment, let me remind you one more thing. T3 is very confusing investigation. Don't rely on your T3 alone. Any sickness, any mild illness, minor illness can produce alteration of thyroxine, that T3. That's a take-home message from my side. What are the causes of hypothyroidism? By and large, the commonest cause is Hashimoto's or autoimmune thyroid disease. At least you can see half a dozen of cases of causes have been described in the literature. But mind you, the commonest, especially for a gynecologist or obstetrician, the most important area should be Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which has got a lot of clinical impact, which you should remember and you should address. Now, what are the issues with the overt hypothyroidism? You have a list, highly exhaustive list you have, but at least 6 or 5 common complications which you should discuss: birth weight issues, gestational hypertension, pregnancy loss. In subclinical hypothyroidism, gradation will come down, that's all, but you can get all the complications of hypothyroidism in subclinical also. This is highly exhaustive list for complication in hypothyroidism, both overt hypothyroidism and subclinical hypothyroidism. Now, my friends, what is happening? Let us discuss what's happening here. See, the issues with hypothyroidism pregnancy. Suppose if you are not treating this patient, like abortion rate, both clinical as well as subclinical hypothyroidism, abortion rate is high. Preterm delivery is also high. But if you treat the patient, the data comes like this, both clinical as well as subclinical hypothyroidism, complication rate is also coming down. They have included pretty good number of patients, but it's not a very high number. But there are data shows that if you are giving proper treatment for overt and subclinical hypothyroidism, you can reduce the complication. My friends, we have another data by Negro et al. What they feel that as a miscarriage or issues, pregnancy loss, if the patient has got positive report, that is antibody positive report, and level of TSH more than 2.5 micro-international units per ml. So what I want to tell you that if the patient has got antibody positivity, problems are very common. We should be very careful in dealing with this patient, especially precious pregnancy. I'll be discussing that. Now there is another data. This data is published in one of the Indian authors also here. The complications of overt and subclinical hypothyroidism in Indian patients, which showed, see, you can see here the group 2, which has got subclinical issues, and here you have overt hypothyroidism. They have looked into 5 variables. One is anemia, pregnancy-induced hypertension, gestational diabetes mellitus, and the relevant complications. So everywhere the issues were high if the patient has got even subclinical hypothyroidism, especially in presence of antibodies. Coming to the child's issue, people were looking into the data regarding the cognitive issues or neuropsychological development. What it shows, this is Haddo's paper. You can see what is happening here is, see, IQ points were slightly less, those who are not taken treatment for hypothyroidism. So this will give an indirect clue that patient needs thorough treatment during pregnancy for reducing the offspring or children with the low IQ. That is a message. You should take it from here. Now, how do you manage this patient with hypothyroidism? We'll look at the Indian thyroid guidelines. What they feel that, you know, see, even before planning pregnancy, you should maintain a TSH of good TSH that is less than 2.6. And most of the situation, the increment is around 30 to 50% during pregnancy. And overt hypothyroidism also, this is your cutoff during first trimester, and second trimester, a little relaxation is there, but still that should be less than 3. These are the recommendation by Indian thyroid guidelines. American Thyroid Association feels that you maintain a good TSH lower half of trimester specific. Probably 2.5 is okay, and it is reasonable to target a TSH less than 2.5. One of the textbooks, that is Ingvar textbooks, mentions that you maintain TSH level of 1 micro international units. So there are various recommendations. You can follow any of the recommendation for that. Now, coming to a case presentation, you have a female with 28 years. Patient is presented with amenorrhea, case of hypothyroidism for the last probably little old, that is 6 years. And patient is taking 75 micrograms of thyroxine. Patient is having a small goiter also. Laboratory shows elevation of TSH to a tune of more than 10 micro international units. Probably the T3 and the T4 is normal, but your friend is positive, that is ATP is positive, and they came with a positive report, pregnancy positive report also. What to do for this type of patient? So what the next step is, 3 steps you can think. 1, maintain same dose of thyroxine or increase the dose of thyroxine. There are people thinking that, you know, so don't go for pregnancy, you don't continue pregnancy, you go for termination. We'll look into the data. So this is Alexander data, which showed around a sizable population, around 85% of the patient needs increment or increase the dose of thyroxine to a tune of 30%. So what we did was, this patient, thyroxine was increased from 75 to 100 micrograms. There are 3 types of recommendations available in this moment. Okay, you can look into the TSH level according to Kaplan. Depending upon the TSH, you can take the thyroxine dosage if you are starting the molecule, right? If the value is less than 5, probably 50 can give. And if the value is between 5 to 10, you can go for 75. More than 10, you can go for the correct dose, that is 100 micrograms also you can give. But there are various recommendations which you should know, at least for postgraduates. So what we did was, you know, we increased the dose, and TSH came down to 2.5. Everything went on very smoothly. Baby was okay, mother was okay, and till now patient is okay. That much we can tell you. And subclinical hypothyroidism, few words about subclinical hypothyroidism. Very high incidence or prevalence of antibody. That's a message which gives lot of unrest for clinicians who are dealing with the pregnancy cases. So what are the medical issues associated here? In this study, this is published in Clinical Endocrinology. They were looking to lot of variables everywhere. You see here pregnancy loss. What is the p-value here? P-value is very, very significant, 0.0001. And here also, see, here it's very interestingly, breech presentation at time also increased with the subclinical hypothyroidism. It's a very new information for me also. And this is yet another paper by Negro et al. See, if the TS is less than 4.2, the miscarriage rate, you can see the miscarriage rate with the thyroxine and antibody positive. Please concentrate on the slides. Antibody is positive and thyroxine, the level is coming down. So if you are not treating this patient, see the shadow here, so the miscarriage is very high. Same thing is applicable for your preterm delivery also. What I want to tell you that if the patient has got antibody positivity, patient needs treatment, that too you should maintain a level less than 2.5. This is again another paper which also showed if the patient has got antibody positivity, lot of issues like risk miscarriage is very high. So you should be very, very careful if you are dealing with this type of patient. Now you have lot of meta-analysis. Meta-analysis is really confusing. At least you can see here 5 papers which showed certain studies showed if the patient has got antibody positivity, that gives lot of discomfort for the physician and you should try to treat this patient. That's a message. This is another paper by same person, and what they feel that if the patient has got antibody positivity, you should maintain a level less than 2.5. Yet another paper by Zima et al, which also shows that you should treat, and what they feel that there was no significant or gross beneficial effect with the thyroxine if the patient has got a value less than 2.5 and 4 in the absence of ATP or antibodies. So there are very conflicting and confusing reports are coming up. This is another meta-analysis which also showed in terms of childhood IQ, current trial evidence doesn't support the treatment of subclinical hypothyroidism diagnosed in pregnancy. Don't you think it's very confusing? Definitely it's confusing. For a practicing physician, it's very confusing. So if you are looking into the cognition changes in the future in subclinical hypothyroidism, what is written here now did not result any significant better cognitive outcome in children through the first 5 years of age. So again, one paper we showed there is no need of treatment. Now, this is another question, the timing of intervention. So if you see all these data, at least you can see the last 2 data shows Sao et al. Reported overall reduction in pregnancy complication. And another paper, but they feel that if you start treatment little early, even in the first prenatal visit, definitely is useful. So it seems you can treat the patient, but you have sufficient support for using this treatment schedule. Now, see, thyroxine treatment we already discussed. If the patient has got positivity, you can treat, and if the level is more than 2.5, between 2.5 and 4, also you can treat the patient. So thyroxine treatment is not needed if the level is less than 2.5 and if the antibodies are negative. Now, this is the one snapshot view from American Thyroid Association. So here what you can see here, less than 2.5 therapy is not recommended. So if between 2.5 and 4 therapies may be considered, and between 4 to 10 therapies recommended, and if the level is more than 10 microinternational units, strongly recommended. But in terms of the cognition of children, less than 2.5, there is no strong evidence, probably the treatment is not needed. But here also, if the level goes up, you should treat. That's a cardio message here. This is one of the up-to-date information, less than 2.5. My friends, there is no issue. But if the patient has got 2.6 to 4, look into ATP level. ATP level, if it is positive, look into the history, prior or past history of recurrent miscarriage. Many feel that, you read the sentence here, many experts feel that you should give treatment, and if there is no history of miscarriage, and some experts feel that you can give, but there is no uniform or the strong recommendation for that. If the TSH is more than 4, is good. You look for the free hormones. If it is normal subclinical hypothyroidism, you can start with a small dose, that is 1 microgram per kg. If the T4 is also low, you can give full dose of thyroxine. This is the recommendation given in up-to-date journal. This is one of the journal by obstetrician. There also recommendation is same. You should start if the level exceeds more than 2 point in presence of antibody positivity. Pre-conception, you should plan. Okay, you can, if the patient is planning for pregnancy, you can increase the treatment by 25 to 30 by giving 2 additional tablets per week. There are many methods physicians are doing, but mind you, your aim to maintain your TSH level to an optimum level. So case capsule, one lady with the gross hypothyroidism, and she's coming with the UPT positivity. How do you manage this patient? And gynecologist feels that this patient should go for abortion or medical termination of pregnancy. Classical recommendation for this type of patient, subclinical hypothyroidism, do not consider MTP, and overt hypothyroidism beyond 20 weeks, treated as hypothyroidism, and please don't go for MTP. Below 20 weeks, and treat as per the guidelines with thyroxine. If conception has occurred without difficulty and overt hypothyroidism is very severe, take a final decision after discussing the pros and cons to the patient and relative. And MTP cannot be recommended at present unless there is a compelling reason from the patient. So what I want to tell you that hypothyroidism as such is not an indication for the termination of pregnancy. Now, after delivery, you can go for pre-pregnancy level. If thyroxine was initiated during pregnancy, probably patient doesn't need your thyroxine treatment subsequently. Infertility also, here you have, these are the 2 negative reports. And lastly, one report, Japanese report, says that 84% of the infertile women with the subclinical hypothyroidism conceived after 84. There are a lot of green signals for that, for giving treatment, especially if the patient has got positive antibodies. This is infertility recommendation by American Thyroid Association. Evaluation of TSH is definitely recommended. And L-thyroxine is recommended for infertile couple with overt hypothyroidism who wants to go for pregnancy. It's a very strong recommendation. Insufficient evidence to determine if thyroxine improve fertility in subclinical hypothyroidism and antibody negative women. And administration of L-thyroxine may be considered, but it's not a very strong recommendation. But subclinical hypothyroidism undergoing in vitro fertilization or ICSI should be treated with the thyroxine, and target should be maintained less than 2.5. It's a very strong recommendation by American Thyroid Association 2017. This is one of the recommendations given one of the European journal published very recently in 2021 only, but they feel that probably little more vigorous approach is needed in presence of antibodies. And if you want to read the entire recommendation, it's a very exhaustive discussion, but see, there emphasize the importance of treating patient with antibody positivity and TSH more than 2.5. That's a carrier message from this slide. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last 20 or 25 minutes, I was discussing various aspects of hypothyroidism and pregnancy, and it seems you should look at the antibodies, thyroxine, and antibody positivity. You should be very careful and you should treat very aggressively. That's a carrier message from my slide. Thank you very much for the kind attention. Thank you once again.